It's Jason Frank. How you doing?
Jason David Frank, ladies and gentlemen, the goddamn Green Ranger is on the phone. Yay.
Hey.
We are very excited, Jason, as you can tell.
Absolutely.
You being on the program.
That's awesome, man. That was a good. Caught me off guard, but that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't do any of that pre-interview crap, Ola. We literally just put you right on the air.
Hey, I love that.
There you
Looking
go.
Good, man.
You're in, you're
How are
out,
you
you're
guys?
done. No, good. How about you? How you doing? I hear a lot of things going on in your world. How you doing?
Yeah, things are good, man. Just just winding down to the end of the year, and hasn't really slowed me down much with publicity and all that other stuff going on, So I know we weren't supposed to talk about a few things, but everyone obviously asking about the C.M.Punk thing.
Wait,
I'll just let it out of the bag.
First, thank you, Jason.
Here.
Thank you, Jesus Christ. Jason has some balls.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
We're so worried about breaking the rules.
Yeah, I didn't want to
What
break
happened?
Go ahead.
What happened was, we're still, I'm still waiting to hear and all that good stuff. Things take a while. Obviously, with C.M. Punk, he's first of all, look, he's a real nice guy. Got a lot of fans that are like, leave him alone, and he doesn't want to fight,
alone.
and he's a wrestler. But ladies and gentlemen, he signed a UFC contract, so that tells me that he does want to fight.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things where the challenge went back to him again, and we're just waiting to see. I think Fox Sports News said that was the most views they got in any UFC report they've ever done before in history. So. Things are definitely out there. We're just waiting to hear from Dana White and CM Punk and see what they want to do. If they say no, then I've tried.
Because here's the thing, Jason. You are without a question a legitimate ass kicker. There is no disputing this. Like, that's the thing. Like, people are like, he was a fucking Power Ranger. What is he going to do to me? He's going to whoop your ass, is what Jason David Frank is going to do. Because you're a fighter.
I'm definitely trained, and I got a lot of, I'm a highly skilled martial artist. I have belts under, fights under my belt, and I think the ultimate dream for a lot of fighters. There are a lot of friends that I've had that have beat UFC fighters that fought on Bellator. Like one of my friends, Mike Greek, he's been there, done that, but it takes forever to get in the UFC. So I have all these guys that are working so hard, and then CM just gets in right away. And I'm not saying anything about it, but you all know why. It's sales.
Well, it's to sell shit.
Else.
Yeah, it's to sell pay-per-view buy rates, T-shirts, posters, to sell the pay-per-view, the whole 9 yards. We get it. I mean, we get why.
When I say zero experience, everyone jumps my butt and says, well, how can you say, guys, he has zero MMA martial arts experience in a cage? I mean, that's just the bottom line.
He does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's all. He does crazy Jiu-Jitsu.
Which he has. Never said, never said he doesn't have training, because I don't underestimate the guy. He's a wrestler. He, last time I talked to him, he's done 230 shows in a year. That means he's got great cardio. I understand he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I understand he does Muay Thai fights. My thing is he has zero MMA cage training as far as, not training, but as far as fights. You have no amateur and you have no pro. So I have no WWE fights right now, so that's like, I can't claim that I'm a WWE fighter.
No.
But all I could do is prove myself. And so, it's not about, I'm careful on what I do with social media, because it seems like everything I do, people turn around, and they're not as cool as you guys. I always got someone, saying, oh, you're a chicken shit. Why don't you call them out on videos? Like, guys, I've done that on every interview.
Yeah,
I've done that for the last 1.5 years. I have done that.
Dude, first thing is first. The reason why I was even having you on was because you weren't chicken shit, and you did call him out. You said point blank in a Facebook message that everyone obviously saw, because that's why you were all over all those, the Fox Sports 1 and all those other places. You called him out. You said point blank, I want to be your first fight. I want to be your first fight.
Yeah, I've said that for 1.5 years. And every interview I've done, including, like this interview, like if they go and look at 20, 30 interviews I've done in the past year, I've even looked into the camera on shows, and I said, hey, we're working it out, CM Punk, and I say, call me. I put the little phone in my ear. I'm like, CM, call me.
Yeah.
And it's been on camera. And like I said, I like the guy, but people got to stop. They got to chill and relax and say, stop trying to bully people around. Guys, this is UFC. We're getting punched in the face. We're not.
Right.
This is what we do for fun. So this is it's in a professional manner as any other job application or anything else that says, hey, I'd like to fight CM Punk. and I'm not bullying people around. I'm not the one with the last name Punk. So there you go.
Oh,
have it.
I see where the Green Ranger went with that.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things, I guess,
Well, what?
So, and then he's got all the haters. So I just say, look, just put us together, sell some great tickets, get some popcorn, whatever you got to do, watch it at the house, and just let it go from there.
There is no doubt in my fucking mind, Jason.
Yeah.
And I will say this to your face, and if Phil Brooks, a.k.a. C.M. Punk, was in this studio right now, I'd say it to his fucking face. I would watch this fight. Because, honest to God, I don't think that Punk will do horrible in the UFC. I think that he's going to be training a lot more because he knows that, like, the real fighters like yourself can punk the shit out of him real quick. So automatically he's going to go, I have to not look like a horse's ass, and I'm going to bust my ass to train. So I don't think he's going to do a half-ass job. But if Dana White was to set up this fight, and it was, first off, the 90s nostalgia of the Green Ranger kicking the shit out of C.M. Punk, who, let's say, arguably is one of the better wrestlers that are out there. Mouth-wise, he can cut a promo. He's got the skill, the ability, like the cardio, like you were saying. He does have a Muay Thai background, and he does have the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu background. I'm telling you, I don't think it'll be... I still see, Jason David Frank knocking him out with a kick because the guy's a martial artist. But I see it being, a good fight.
Let's just, if we go out there and let the blood shed, let's give you guys 2 or 3. I'm all for that. I'm all for getting hit in the face. I just want a good fight. But let me ask you this question, since I've never talked about it since then. What if the UFC is protecting him for his first fight and doesn't want him to lose? And I'm not saying set up, I'm saying doesn't want him to lose, and they want to build him up like a Brock Lesnar. I could be the opponent that could beat CM Punk up. I mean, I'm just being honest with you.
No,
and so I'm starting to think that. What if they're protecting him?
I agree. I honestly think that they did build up Brock. Not that Brock is not a beast in that ring. He is.
He's a beast. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, look at his first couple of fights against Frank Mir. All he did was clubber. He was like a big ape, and he just smashed his fists into him. It wasn't like any skill level. It wasn't like he even brought his NCAA background when he did professional, real wrestling, collegiate wrestling. He didn't bring any of that even into the fight. It was just, I'm going to fall on you now and punch you in the face. Whereas, see, here's the difference though with a guy like Jason, where Jason is a martial artist first, and then he's a fighter. Jason will I've seen Jason actually fight. I've watched a lot of footage of you because I am a fan of the Green Ranger. That's first, because I was a Power Ranger guy. I did watch it.
Thank you.
But the thing is, but past all the child BS, when you see Jason in the ring, first off, he's all tatted up. He's a badass. He's not the guy that was just kissing the Pink Ranger and going, hey, we're going to go to Angel Grove. Yay. He's not that guy. He's the guy that he gets in the cage. He kicks the shit out of you. You know what I mean? And that's why he does have a fan base. He has a fan base from his fighting, let alone his Power Ranger shit. And that's it. But he amassed this fan base from the fighting side because he's a legitimate ass kicker. That's the thing and I do think that they're shielding Punk from because if they do put you in the ring against him, like I just said, I honestly think that he's going to get a couple of good shots in, but I think it's going to be a kick out of nowhere. And it's going to be, all you're going to hear is whap, and then boom, Punk goes down, and that's it. Because Jason spins around the ring like a top. That's number one. He also has his punching percentage when he's standing across the ring, when he tags more guys than he ducks at. So he gets punched in the face, he's just coming right back to you. He's toe-to-toe, standing right there. And he doesn't back down. Like, he's not one of those fighters that dances around the ring like a moron, that does all these. He stands there and he fights you. He just keeps coming. He's a barrage. And he just keeps coming. That's what I think that where Punk will be lacking, where Phil Brooks will be lacking, is that constant fighting, that barrage, that he just keeps coming. The Dragon Ranger keeps coming at you. And then you sit there and you go, I don't know what to do now. This is not a cartoon. This is not pro wrestling. I don't know what the frick to do right now. He just keeps kicking me in the face.
I can't powder out.
I can't powder out. Yeah, take a breath. I can't get out of the cage.
Back.
Yeah. There is no count-outs. There's only tap-outs in UFC. And knockouts.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. All my guys now, like, Derek, the Black Beast, who fights in UFC, big heavyweight, he can vouch, man. I throw down with that guy every time. Back in the days when he'd come into town, I was the only one that got respect out of there. And all my guys, all my friends here, Mike the Greek, Ronzoulis, the fighter, all these guys I fought, they just don't know. I think they look at the whole, power, and they just still don't get it. And it's one of those things where all my training partners are from the UFC. Melvin Gillard, all these training partners are from the UFC. I trained with these guys a lot back in the days. And, and I want to be clear on one thing, too, that I hear out there that I don't really talk about is, everyone, Jason Frank wants to call out everybody. It's not about calling out. It's, this whole thing with Steven Van Damme, it wasn't started. If he wanted to fight, I think he's supposed to fight, whatever. I was like, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to fight him. I was a big fan of his. It'd be great. Well, then all the hype went on to that. TMC, I never heard from Van Damme, and now he's fighting. But that happened. And then Anderson Silva, I love that guy. He would probably kill me in the MMA, but I'd like to spar with the guy for fun. And I came up with it'd be great if we can go to like Brazil and kind of spar for the kids, like an exhibition to raise money and stuff like that. Then it's like Jason Frank calls out Anderson Silva, Jason Frank calls out C.M. Punk, or even with the Austin thing that happened years ago, where I was like, yeah, if he likes to fight, and let's do it. I mean, I'm trying to get something going here, and everywhere I'm trying to do it, people are like, oh, you're bullying people around. Guys, I'm not bullying people. Welcome to the big leagues. This is, how else are you supposed to get a fight? You're supposed to call them out and say, I'll fight. That's how you're supposed to do it. I was just about to
say that. So he's calling them out. And?
I volunteer. I'm willing to participate.
Why are you all running away? If this guy's such a bitch, if he's the Green Ranger and he doesn't do anything else, and he did like a kid show, and he's not competition, or whatever else you want to say about Jason, I don't see there. That seems to me why you're running. Why you're running?
I agree.
Step into it.
And
I'm not saying I'm fighting
fan base. I mean, he's got a huge fan base, which is great. But then it's funny because before I post, they're like, he's not a fighter, and leave him alone. In his contract, he can't fight.
He is a fighter.
Yeah, I know. He's in UFC now. That's my point. Is how could you leave someone alone? I'm probably the safest. Listen, I'm the safest opponent for now that he's going to have. If he's in, UFC, they don't mess around. They've got hardcore people in the UFC, and I understand he wants to get 1-0 fight too. But I'm the perfect candidate. Who else is better to fight him? Me.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. Like, look, I'm not going to be ballsy enough. Like, I know I can fight when we're in it. Like, I'm not saying I'm Mr. fucking UFC or whatever. I will do takedowns. I will tap people out, that kind of thing. I'm not saying I can take Jason David Frank. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm coming out and being legitimate and saying I can't take this guy. He will kick the shit out of me. The same way we were talking about the Anaconda guy before, right, Joe? Yeah. When we're saying that the Anaconda guy automatically says that he's going to do something, then he doesn't do it. He's a pussy bitch.
Well,
right?
That's
now, when Jason David Frank said, I want to fight you, that's not him being a bully. That's not him. No. That's not him pushing around C.M. Punk saying, "Look, you're a nobody. I'm a somebody. I was a star before you. I can." He's not doing that. He's asking for a fight. In the old way, you remember how when you used to be a man and you used to walk up to somebody and go, "You want to fight?"
No, I was the guy.
Do you want to actually fight about this?
I used to say, "I'll hold your coat."
Let me hold your coat in your purse, sir. Yeah. I'll do that for you. But no, Jason David Frank, he called him out, and to the point where we weren't even supposed to talk about this. Let's be honest.
No, I wanted to just and I've turned a lot of interviews down because it's like I feel like right now at this point I'm beating a dead horse. Either you do it or you don't. I'm saying yes, let's do it. Get me a deal. Let's just move on with it. I feel like for me, I kind of feel like it's a slap in my face, dude.
It is.
Like
but that's
I'm out there. You never even gave me notice the UFC at all.
No.
But maybe because I'm the Power Ranger, but come on, man, you got a wrestler now, and the only reason you might believe him is because of Brock Lesnar. Don't underestimate me.
No.
And obviously they have already.
Watch the footage. That's what I'm saying. Watch one of Jason David Frank's fights. And if you don't believe that he can hold his own, That's number one. If you don't think the guy can hold his own, then you step in the ring with him, and he'll show you firsthand. That's my point.
I agree, and that's how I am out here in Houston, Texas. My gym rides with some karate. It was so funny. 3 years ago, I had every fighter talk crap against me. So I put out on one of the biggest fight forums out here, come to my gym, 1 o'clock on Wednesday, leave your posse alone. Don't just come alone. Leave your posse at home and bring your gloves. And that was open every single week. And I had a few guys that came in that I got respect from, and they wrote things about me and apologized. And, you know, I think that we're kind of in the same boat, me and CM. With his reputation and where I'm coming for a kid's show, you know, and you can't help not to ask for this when you join the UFC.
Right.
Well, what are you doing joining the UFC if you don't think all these people are going to come out and say, fight me?
Well,
I mean, you're asking for it. So be ready and be prepared. But I also think in his contract, I think he's got a right to choose what opponent he wants and who he doesn't. And he's ignored me. I went to Chicago Comic-Con, and, you know, he was there, but no one knew. He kind of dressed incognito just to walk around. It's kind of like, man, come say hi to me. Like, I'm not a bad guy, and he's not a bad guy. We used to hug each other and say, hey, what's going on? And
well, the picture...
but as soon as the challenge came out, he, like, disappeared and don't even talk no more.
The picture that we have promoting this today that you were coming on before I was told legally that you weren't going to talk about it, and meanwhile that went to shit, but we started talking about it. The picture that I had of Jason David Frank is Jason David Frank and CM Punk, and all it says is CM Punk versus Jason David Frank. That's the picture, because they have been in the same vicinity as one another. They have been in the same area, but then the moment where there was rumblings that maybe Punk was actually legitimately going to, you know, be signed by the UFC, that kind of started to dissipate, right? He started to kind of separate from being with you, right?
Right, yeah. Well, it just kind of separated when he said he wanted to do an MMA fight. In that video, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, he said, you know, when you tell my fans, I'd fight him, to me, that's a verbal man contract.
Yeah,
it's a verbal man contract.
Man up, man.
You can't say that and don't do it. That's my point.
Well, right now, to me, Dana White, and I'm not trying to say that Dana White's stupid, because Dana White's an ex-boxer, he will punch me in the face. What I'm saying is that Dana White it would behoove Dana White to sign Punk Punk's already signed to a contract, to sign Jason to the Ultimate Fighter, right? Put him in the house, let him friggin' do it. If Jason wins, not only does he get a UFC contract, but Jason gets Punk. And the fight that everybody wants to see, which everybody does, I have goosebumps talking about it, because the fact is, I want to see it. It's like it's like two action figures coming to life and kicking the hell out of each other. And that's what it should be. Jason will make it all the way through he will make it through. I believe in Jason, that he will make it through the standings, because he has a strong fan base, so people will vote. He will also be voted because he has the technique, the style, and the finesse in the ring. He knows what he's doing in the experience. He will work his way up, and when he wins the Ultimate Fighter, which is what Dana should do, that man not only gets a UFC contract, the guy on the phone right now, the Green Ranger, not only do you show him the green and you give him a damn UFC contract, but this guy right here gets Punk. That should be the contract. And then at the very next pay-per-view, it's Punk Frank in the ring, one-on-one, no more bullshit. The talk is over. Let it happen. And then everybody gets to either nut up or shut up. That's it. And at the end of the day, either this guy over here, Jason David Frank, gets choked out by Punk, which I seriously doubt happening, or Jason David Frank gives him a fucking hi-ya karate chop right to the fucking neck and then kicks him square in the jaw, which is probably what's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, dude, I'm a giant fan of Muay Thai. When I fight, I use my knees more. I use my knees and my elbows. That's what I use when I fight. Because when you ball up your fists, a lot of people will tell you, use your fists, you break your hands. It's not right. Use the palms, your palms of your hands. Use your knees, use your elbows. I'm a big fan of the Muay Thai. I love it. But no offense, Muay Thai against karate, you got to be really close to strike me in Muay Thai. Whereas Jason can be halfway across the ring and still kick you. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Outside kick range, you got kick range, punch range, elbows, and
that's
knee
what I'm
range,
saying.
And you got grappling, wrestling.
The fighting difference. Now, if he gets you on the ground, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is going to come in. And don't get me wrong, but you have the experience factor. This is my point. It's
I'm a purple belt and he's a purple belt.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
It's an even match on the ground.
It's a well-rounded fight. That's
even match. Purple, and we both got toys even before we were fighters, so you're right.
Yeah.
There's 2 action figures that come to life to fight.
Exactly.
What other UFC guys that step into the ring that actually has an action figure of them?
You're damn right.
Right.
This guy also...
Maybe Brock, but the other guys he fought didn't have action.
No, they didn't. It is.
And and some did in the final rounds of toys, but I'm saying that when you very start, you got two different, you got a superhero and you got a WWE, so Dana would be stupid not to sign me. I can say that because I'm the guy.
Well,
you got 2 different worlds, Comic-Con world, which is huge, which half of them love WWE, and then you got his just WWE that might not like any other world, but you got 2 worlds colliding into one.
Right.
And ticket sales would be good. Now, when you talk about paying, I'm sure I'll probably get ripped off and CM will take all the money, but whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and if it's a great close fight, I agree to a rematch. That's just the way it is. If it's a bloody fight and it goes to the distance and somebody wins and somebody doesn't win, then it's a nice rematch on pay-per-view. But if it's a crappy fight and I knock him out in the first round or he chokes me out, like sort of say, then it's not going to be a rematch.
Well,
it'd be nice.
If it automatically comes down to judge's decision, to me that guarantees a rematch. If it comes down to judge's decision, it automatically, because somebody's going to win, someone's going to lose, and it's just going to come down to whoever flicked the pen in the proper direction on the scorecard. As a difference
between... You know who will win the most? Dana White.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a no-brainer for this guy.
The UFC will be... He could be like Scrooge McDuck, swimming in a money bin of money at the end of this fight.
This could be why he hasn't signed you, because he's just waiting for
he's gaining the build, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And
sure.
He doesn't have to advertise anything. He's just letting this take form and build itself.
Well, a lot of people right now in the chat room are saying that as well. We got Michael in the chat room who's saying that he believes that this is already planned. Now, I don't think because I think that Jason would be flat out honest. I don't think Jason would say anything. I think that Jason would call, when he's calling somebody else, calling somebody out. But I think that Dana already has it in his mind. I think it's planned up to that point. I think Dana in his mind saying, sooner or later, I'm going to fucking sign him to make this happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make
I hope so.
half of the equation is there.
You know, if I had any information, I'd release it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line is, when we talked about not talking about the fight, I'm so tired of people always coming and saying, get over it, you're trying to ride his light. I'm not. This was before he even thought, go back to when I offered, this was before he even thought about dabbling into MMA. This is when he was contracted to the WWE, and he could not get out to fight legally.
Yeah.
Once he got out, I was so excited. My manager, Brian, at Sucker Punch Entertainment, is one of the best agents of all times. And when I told him about this a year ago, we had a deal. We had the deal all set up. So we went to contact him, and then he didn't want to do it. And these are my thoughts. Everyone in the chat room, everyone listening, this is my thoughts. And it's unfortunate, but here's my thought. Dana didn't know who I was a day and a half ago, because C.M.Punk never brought up my name, because CM feels like, why should I let this guy get publicity on me? And, I was selling shirts, best in the world, and I got slammed by WWE and C.M.Punk to take it off my website. Now, give or take, I only sold 100 of them. It was best in the world, but they own that name, best in the world.
Right.
So again, that pissed me off more. It's okay, well, let's just fight over a damn T-shirt. I mean, it's one of those things, and it's not an ego thing. And so what I didn't want to do was keep beating a dead horse. I wanted to put it in their mind. If you look at my Facebook, I'm highly active, but in the last 24 hours, I only posted 4 pictures, a couple T-shirt, whatever. But there was one time where it went 24 hours that I did not post, and the last post was me and CM Punk. And my views already has 2 million reaches on that alone, and I reach over 6 million, like I said, a week.
You have a huge fan base.
I wanted to leave that last, because all the hype, I wanted people to look and say, oh, whoa, this is happening. So I think Dana just knows who I am, and it's only been less than 48 hours, and I really think he's starting to see. IGN picked up the story. I got interviews from everybody, and I can go out there and talk, but I'm so tired of talking. Yeah. I'm telling CM Punk and I'm telling UFC, only on your channel, because I have not talked about it. Step up, get it going. If it's planned in your head, don't keep messing with my head. Give me some kind of feedback. Give me a call or say, hey, Jason, we got it. We're thinking about it. Anything that I can have this way I can move forward, because once this is done, CM Punk is on his own, and he can do what he wants. And if they want to do a second fight, great. I'm not going to slow down nor stop calling him out. I'm just going to get to the point where if he does his first fight, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get some popcorn myself. I'm going to invite friends over. I'm going to study him. I'm going to watch him, and then the call will go out to the second fight.
Yeah.
And if Dana thinks I'm just a Power Ranger and that's dumb, then he's a WWE fighter. We're in the same boat. That's what I don't understand.
Well,
but I have 7 fights.
Right.
I have a Muay Thai kickboxing. I mean, it's not just I have experience, and I don't want him to, I'm pro, 1-0. That's all you need to know. Pro, 1-0.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter about my amateur record. He had plenty of time. He had plenty of time to get 100 amateur fights in, but he chose not to fight amateur and go straight to pro. So that's an even wipe. That's even. That's his decision not to fight amateur.
Right.
Even George Foreman's a friend of mine. Says the same thing.
At the end of the day, first and foremost, Dana White is not stupid. Dana White knows. No, I'm just saying. You know he's a crafty son of a bitch. And at the end of the day, he's probably plotting this all out, saying, which I believe honestly, I don't think that Punk's first fight will be you versus Punk. I think that he's going to get a couple of fights under Punk's belt just to build the character for the UFC. The same way he built Brock. You build the character, and then you got UFC Punk is out there, and he's doing his deal. And on the other side of the card, waiting in the wings, you are the Pacquiao to his Mayweather. And he's just going to keep going on and on and on and on until that day when they step foot in that ring between those, well, in this case, between the cage, and they step into that ring and they fight, because the anticipation is worth the money. And I get that.
Right.
But the thing is, at least acknowledge, I agree with you on that. At least acknowledge this guy right here who's done nothing but call you out. And he's done nothing but call you out like a man. He hasn't called you out trying to hype his own shit. Because no offense, he doesn't need to. I've seen this guy at Comic-Con.
I don't need to. That's what the thing is. I don't need the press. I'm not riding his light. This is before. I was doing this before he signed UFC. And my thing was, it makes sense to me. If you fight someone with somewhat of a name, listen, if you lose, it's okay. You lost because you got beat up by me. If I lose, okay, you're supposed to be the best in the world. But if I lose against Joe Blow, who works down the street trying to become a fighter, to me it looks worse.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think I should be his first fight. Because if we lose, we're losing to someone equal versus I'm losing to Joe, who's got one fight, who has no history in the UFC. No one's going to respect that. A lot of fighters that I fought only had 1 or 2, 0, and all I heard was, fight someone good. I was in a lose-lose. If I lose to someone who's Joe down the road, then I lose to someone who's no good. And then if I beat someone who's good, then, it's just, for me, and that's why I know the business. I've been through that. I left it for a while because it's such a damn crazy sport that I know right now with CM Punk, I think it would make sense. But if it's okay, get a few belts, get a few fights under your belts. Someone tell me, even if you told me to F off, someone give me something so I can and it's not riding publicity. Yes, CM has way more fans than me. I get it, but I'm happy with where I'm at. I reach 6 million people a week through the reaches of Facebook. I got 600,000. I don't know. He's probably got millions. Great. But it still makes sense. And I'm coming up. I'm not stopping. Next year we got the movie. I got a show coming out. I sold my reality show. I'm coming for his numbers that he's got. And I'm not going to stop. And one day, maybe the numbers will match. But in the same time, the numbers at fight tickets will be great and it'll be bigger. And just give me some acknowledgement. That's it. Hey, Jason, we got your stuff. Cool. That's it. And I've never got acknowledgement from Van Dam.
Just say that I'm alive. Yeah. Exactly. I totally agree with you. There's no doubt
if you call me out on the radio, believe me, I will call you. If it was me and CM was calling this radio or whatever the situation is, I will be your next interview to back up what I have to say about, but he never does. That's the point, and that's, to me, is not man enough.
Well, he has this attitude. A lot of people know this. If you've seen the behind the scenes shit, or if you've heard a lot of stuff about Punk, he does have this attitude of this, not nonchalant, like, he's better than everybody attitude. Is this, I know more, like, the bands I like are better than the bands you like, or this, that you like that movie's dumb. Let me tell you what's good over here. Like, that kind of attitude is what he has. So I don't agree with it. I don't agree with him not,
I understand
in your
too.
face.
Like, why put me in this light? I mean, I totally get it, but I'm a celebrity that reaches out to my fans, and I talk to them all the time. But I'm also a celebrity that understands this. The fans don't owe me. I owe the fans. And when he disappeared and he didn't talk to anyone, I get it. And maybe he interviews now, but if it was me, I owe the fans, and that's the difference. That's why at New York Comic Con, I was named King of the Con at every pop celebrity there.
I was there.
Because
I know.
I reach out to my fans. I give the fans what they want.
But
that's all I'm trying to do.
But that's why a lot of people because a lot of people in the chat room also, by the way, planetplatypus.com. Click on the live button, be a part of the chat room. It's in full effect right now. A lot of people are talking about the fact that the level of nerds and geeks and the weirdos of the world who love the Power Rangers and who love wrestling and who love CM Punk, that level alone, purchasing the pay-per-view, the buy rate, let alone the UFC fans who normally, are there. So you have that plus that. These two worlds colliding would make such a buy rate upswing for the UFC. It probably would be one of the biggest paydays in UFC history, to be honest with you.
I agree. And the reason for that is that we're not reaching regular UFC fans. We are bringing new people from those two worlds to the UFC fan base. I have people that never watch UFC that has no interest in watching UFC, but they will if we fight.
Exactly.
And maybe we get a chance to hook them so Dana can start having new UFC fans. You're never too big to continue branding. You're never too big to continue getting fans. That's the most important thing with any other company, or you're not going to survive.
Right.
And all I want, and I'm asking you guys, and I promise you guys right now that if something happens with CM Punk, you guys are very cool. You guys, and I don't know much about anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you guys will be the first to hear about it. And here's what someone asked me, all these big celebrities that I do interviews all the time for Wizard World, and they come up and they're like, well, let me ask you something. How do you know if this guy's real? And I says, I don't research. And the reason why I don't research is every interview I do is the same as if it was the biggest interview of my entire life. And that's the difference with me and a lot of people is you won't get CM to call a podcast. You won't get CM to talk to fans about it. I will, because every interview is equal to me. It could be the biggest interview. This is the first time on the air that I'm talking about CM Punk after this. And it's probably right now the last for a while until I get acknowledgement. And when I do, and I know something, I'll call my agent and say, because I'm a man of my word, and you will see, I will say, you guys are the first ones I want to tell. You guys are the first ones I want to talk to. Why? And you guys know is I didn't even have to talk about this, but I'm the one that said, let's talk about it. And I know we have a lot of excited people. And let's be honest right now, that's what people want to talk about.
I wasn't even going to bring it up because I was told I got explicit.
No, I know you guys weren't.
I got explicit
and that's why I'm
details.
going to call my agent and tell her, hey, look, if she's listening now, I brought it up. And because you guys have that vibe, you guys just seem that, hey, you just want to see a fight, and that's what's important to the fans.
At the end of the day,
I'm not asking for the JDF fans. I'm asking for the fans just to embrace the fight. And, and on the end of the night, on the end of the day, on the end of the fight, win or lose, I'm going to give CM a big hug for stepping up and also giving me the chance, but just to embracing it. And I do feel like it's a man thing. With Van Dam, that whole thing, he wanted to fight, and I was trying to give him someone. All I heard was, you want to fight someone old. You want to fight something old. Well, look at Mickey Rourke, who just fought a 27, 28-year-old in Russia. He's 62 years old. So the age doesn't matter. When you hear a fighter saying, well, you're going to fight someone younger, like CM Punk's 5 years younger, who cares? It really doesn't matter. It's the strength of your mind and it's the strength of your body. I haven't been through George Foreman's a friend of mine, and I asked George, how did you, get up there? And he says, I'm going to tell you the key right now, the secret to it. Don't take a lot of amateur fights. That's where the damage is done. Get right into it if you can and hold your own. And when George told me three things, there's three ways you can avoid a punch in the ring. You either get hit, or you move out of the way, or you jam the punch. And when he told me that, I got the world champion telling me something and, encouraging me, and it is encouraging. And, I have no animosity towards CM Punk at all, and I want everyone on my Facebook, to not be a keyboard warrior and say what you can do, and you could beat him up, and he's going to beat me up. And I ask you one thing. Don't underestimate CM Punk. Go for him. Go for me. But more importantly, go for that UFC fight that can bring not just a lot of money, that can bring a lot of excitement and make fans and true heroes of ours clash together, and then on the end of the day, we can say what we want. And now if I'm going to lose or Punk's going to lose, you got that other world talking shit. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's life.
It's life.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So here's what you do. You get your fans to go to planetplatypus.com. Make sure they listen to this show because this is JDF right there, Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, the guy you love the most, the guy that's shooting from the hip. He's wearing his heart on his sleeve. Yeah. He's telling you to your face. If you want to hear his words, the same way. The reason why I was having him on to begin with, because I said deep down inside, the reason why I signed this thing, right? I said it. I said, this guy is just calling him out. That's all he's fucking doing. He's calling him out. That's it. That's all he's doing, and everyone's making a big goddamn deal out of it. And I'm like, this guy right here is the reason why we have the pussification of America. Yeah. Because he's showing you that we have the pussification of America. Because he's calling a guy out, and we hear nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Punk's a pussy. I'm not saying Dana's a pussy. There's probably wheels are turning over at the UFC, and they're trying to build this thing to happen. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when you have a guy that's a legitimate fighter that's saying, I will step in the cage with this man, and I'm telling you, if you want to hear, if his fans want to back him and they want to hear from JDF telling you to your face to go talk to Punk, rally behind the Green Ranger, go green, don't be a punk, man up. Yeah. Tell people that you want to be the guy that gets in the ring with them. Go to planetplatypus.com. Listen to the program. We're going to have the replay up. Yeah. Probably today the replay will be up. Listen to it. You tell them. You go to your thing, Jason. Put it up there. Tell them to go.
I will.
Tell them to go because you know what? At the end of the day, the only way this fight's happening is if when Dana White cannot ignore the demand anymore.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fans make stuff happen. And I'm so glad you said that.
Absolutely.
I want my fans. I want your fans. I want Punk's fans. I want WWE fans. I want UFC fans. I want everybody that thinks that because at the end of the day, we get a great fight out of this. It's not going to be a Mike Tyson 2-minute job where everybody's working for Don King and someone's going to take a shadow punch and fall down. This is going to be two guys that it's going to be such a build-up to this fight. And then at the end of the day, when they're in the cage together, in the octagon, in the UFC, at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, the dust is settled, all the fucking cliches that you want to throw at this thing, it will be man on man. It will be the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank. All right, a man that was a legitimate ass kicker, has been kicking ass since he was Tommy on the Power Rangers. That son of a bitch right here versus C.M. Punk, Phil Brooks, a man that is not a slouch in the ass kicking department. However, you have not answered. If you want to be the best in the world, Phil, or CM, or I know I'll get an angry email or tweet. Somebody will send me something. You don't even know me. How dare you call me Phil? Okay. I'm calling you out to answer it. That's all I'm doing. I'm calling you out to answer him calling you out. That's it.
Just an answer. If you can't do it your first fight, great. If you can't do it, hey, and there's a reason behind it, just tell me. Because it is getting to the point where, it's starting to beat a dead horse after a year and a half. And I feel like I get no credibility from these guys. I get nothing, and my manager, Brian, is great. He's going to talk to him. He's talking to the UFC personally. He represents a lot of UFC guys. You can go to suckerpunch.com to see who he represents. Right. Legitimate guy, and he's the one that can make it happen. But we have to wait to see, hey, what are they going to say? And even no matter what they say, guys, I'll call you back, and I'll tell you that their decision. Great. And I respect their decision. Cool. If they want to build them up, and that's fine. But I do want a chance one day, if not the first fight. And I want some kind of recognition. If I was C.M. Punk, I would be all over this stuff, at least tweeting, saying, hey,
I would answer
this and that, but I don't think he's going to give me the time of day. And if he doesn't, I just don't say that's man enough to do that.
And if you want to be the best in the world, here's how you prove it.
Yeah.
Here's how you prove it. You fight the guy that you made take down the T-shirts. You fight the guy that's called you out numerous times. You fight the guy. It's the same way in radio. It's the same thing in radio.
You fight the guy on video.
Yeah.
I will fight him. Those words, I will fight him. Yes. Would you fight Jason David Frank? Yeah. I would fight him. But which Ranger is he? Ha, ha, ha. I just met the guy. Yeah. So now you're making fun of me in your Q&A. Come on.
Yeah, because he's a dick. All right, well, Punk, here you go. Look at your wrist like you normally do right before you go to the ring, and guess what? Tap your wrist. It's clobbering time, asshole. It's clobbering time.
Yep.
Now it's time to man up, stop being a punk, and man up. That's what you have to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason David Frank on the phone, the Green Ranger. Round of applause for a man who's stepping up, who's stopping the pussification of America and stepping up and saying, I want to fight you.
And thank you for being so frank. We really like.
Literally, his name is Frank.
Oh, yes.
At the end, his name is Frank. He's Frank. He's to the point. He doesn't lie about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And thank you. Yeah, and thank you for stepping up and actually, showing the balls that you have. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys, and I'll be retweeting this and putting it on social media so people can hear.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for you guys standing up for what you believe in, too, and I appreciate it. Anytime you need me, you let me know.
There you go. Right. Jason David Frank, planetplatypus.com. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so there you go. Jason David Frank.
That was great.
That was phenomenal. And he didn't have to.
Yeah.
And before I get in, I
was a little surprised, to be honest.
Dude, he said it first.
Absolutely.
All I said was, how you been?
Yeah.
Billy, you're my witness.
Yeah.
All I said was, how you been? I heard you've been busy. I didn't allude to it. I just said, how you been? You've been busy.
There's obviously some sort of miscommunication between his people and him, because we were informed,
Dude, I got an email right here. I want to see if she wrote me in between. Let me just, before I know we have to go to break because we also have, Flash Brown coming on, and I don't want to fuck him out of some shit.
Sure.
Yeah, here we go. She did write me.
Yeah.
Let me just double check.
Shut up, guys.
Yeah. Stop talking about this shit. You guys be quiet. I fucking hate you both. Be quiet.
This is ham radio. What happens, happens.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I do respect and I accept the compliment that Jason gave us, because that's why we are freaking chill.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because every freaking entertainer. You want to know the secret of doing good radio? Let me explain how you do good radio.
Okay.
When they're on the phone or they're in the studio or whatever it is, you treat a celebrity. Here's the secret. Ready? Like a fucking human. Yeah. And you bring them in and you let them sit the fuck down. And if you have some beer, you give them some beer. If you have you want to give them, they want booze. That's why at Goom we wanted to put it in an open bar.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Because you know what? Let them sit down.
Party time.
And not answer all the stupid questions that they know are coming. I was going to ask him what it was like to kiss the Pink Ranger.
Yeah.
Did you get a boner on set? I was going to ask him all those questions. Next thing you know, he's talking about fighting C.M. Punk, so I'm like, let's go with it.
Yeah. That's what we wanted to talk about, really.
By the way, just here's the email. Wait, I got to read this, Billy. Hold on. Jason will be calling momentarily, but just wanted you to remind you, he only has 10 minutes. That was 30-plus minutes about C.M. Punk and him. Yeah, so I just want to point out, it is a lack of communication between the parties.
Yeah, I think so.
Just want to point that out.
Now, I was watching, during the interview, I watched some of his fights here. They're short.
To the point, right?
He's a pretty tough
very
guy.
Precise.
Yeah, he's a pretty tough guy.
And most of the people he's fought were bigger than himself, and he's held on well. He took some punishment, but turned it around.
Part of the problem is he's probably too good. If he was
that's what I keep saying.
If he was a bum-ass fighter, they'd probably say, yeah, sure, let him get his ass kicked.
He's a legitimate ass
He's
kicker.
a legitimate fighter.
And when he goes out there, he's going to hurt you. And that's the thing that you have to contemplate if it's your first match.
Absolutely.
And I know that that's going through. I'm not saying, he totally didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Batman's laughing his balls off in the chat room. Batman, I got an email last night saying you can't talk about that with him. Like it was embargoed and they couldn't talk about it.
We had a whole different line of questions.
I literally asked Joe.
Yeah.
My plan was to look at him on the phone here, listen to him, and literally go, hypothetically.
Yeah, it's sort of like. If
you were to fight a, say, former professional wrestler, and now someone, I had this whole thing written out. Joe knows because I said it to him in his fucking kitchen. I said, I'm going to go hypothetically if you blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then the first thing out of his mouth is, let's talk about it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I called out CM Punk. He's a bitch. Let's fight.
Get it out
Done.
there.
That's exactly what he did. So
that's what it's all about.
Emails from the lawyers will be coming momentarily.
Yes.
Nick, you're right. It's the Ham Radio Show. We got to take a break. When we come back, on the show. We'll bullshit for a little bit, and then we have Flash Brown. 11.5-inch penis.
Selling it by the pound.
So we go from a great fight to a guy that fights stuck in a snake into his pants.
To a great dick.
Yeah. To a massive dick.
Massive dick.
Yeah, one dick won't fight the other guy. Won't fight Jason. And then we go to one guy that can't. He has to fight his dick to get in his underwear.
Okay.
That's what happens. 908-854-4228 is the Hammer Radio Show. We'll be right back after the